The president is slated to announce his pick for the Supreme Court in just over an hour. Sources close to the White House told reporters at Politico that Trump called at least one candidate on Sunday night, but that he did not make an offer. The president has moved rapidly to make a decision since Justice Anthony Kennedy announced his retirement from the court on June 27th. For more, we turn to tonight's political panel. Vecchio is GOP strategist, and LaDawn Jones, she's a former Georgia state representative. All right, Ken, let's start with you. Many outlets seem to believe either Judge Tom Hardiman or Brett Kavanaugh will be selected as the pick tonight. I don't like to speculate too much on the individual at this point, but what kind of judge do you expect the president to select?
A very conservative judge, Anya, who will faithfully interpret the Constitution and not legislate from the bench. This is somebody who's a textualist. A textualist is somebody who follows what the law itself says, looking at the print of the law, not looking at, let's say, how a congressman or a senator provided notes in determining the law when it was enacted. This is the type of person that President Trump wants. He wants somebody who's not afraid to look at the Constitution and say, you know what? A prior case determined by the Supreme Court was handed down in violation of the Constitution, and we can overturn that precedent.
And LaDawn, do you expect the Democrats to put up any opposition to this nomination, and how would you like to see them do it?
Well, of course, the Democratic strategy is already from several congresspersons, senators have come out and said that they're going to stand strong against any nominee that comes forward. We know that there is a very thin margin in the Senate for a decision to be made, and they have to really stand together as Democrats. If just one or two switches sides, it opens up the gate for Trump's nominee to come right in. And so the plan I would expect and what I hope to see is that they simply stand firm as a group, all Democrats together.
Do you have confidence that they'll act as a unified party? I mean, obviously they have a history of difficulty in doing that at times.
It's hard to tell, and we know that Trump and his supporters are really targeting the red state Democrats, people who are up for election, and so it may be difficult because sometimes you have to vote based on your district.
Why should they stand together as a group? Why shouldn't they vote with their hearts? Why shouldn't they be voting for somebody who that they believe will faithfully and properly and appropriately interpret the Constitution and put politics aside and put the best woman or man in this seat? Let's get real here. The United States decided as a collective group that they wanted a conservative, strict constructionist jurist on the Supreme Court. That's why they've elected a House and a Senate that is a majority Republican, and why they elected Donald Trump as president. So why should these Democrats be robotic? Why shouldn't some of them stand up and say, you know what, for once, I'm not just going to be part of the machine?
LaDawn,
well, that's a very great question. That's an excellent question, and let me give you a very clear answer, because we know from the list that Donald Trump chose from, as selected by the Federalist Society, many of these individuals simply do not hold democratic values. So you don't have to go very deep into who they are. If you are voting on policy and what is right, we know that they're going to review these policies, particularly the religious freedom bills and legislation and litigation that has been coming down the pike, in a way that is not supported by progressives and Democrats. It's pretty simple. They chose from a short list.
You asked her a question, Ken. Let's let her finish.
Yeah, they chose. President Trump was given a short list, and we already know that the Federalist Society is a society that does not support the values that the Democratic Party stands for. It's pretty simple. Now, if he wants to come off of that list and put forth someone that is really like a Merrick Garland type person that is really down the center, then there wouldn't be a problem with them looking at the individual and not the person. And not the party.
Ken, it sounds like you want to respond.
Yeah, I would, Anya. Merrick Garland is a laughable choice from the perspective of if he'd ever get approved by a Republican Congress. We have to be realistic here. This is a Republican president, a Republican Congress. It's going to be their preference. The Democrats have had their folly for over 50 years in having jurists legislate from the bench, starting with that completely irrational decision of Roe versus Wade back in 1973 that was not where it's not found anywhere in the Constitution that a right to privacy exists, much less one that's extended to allow a woman to commit a homicide in killing a child or a fetus inside herself. But
I don't think there's anything about abortion, in fact, in the Constitution, which raises the issue that often comes up with the Supreme Court. A lot of the issues that come up for a decision aren't actually there concretely in the Constitution and is obviously open to interpretation. LaDawn Jones and Ken Del Vecchio, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.